Hey, it's Ryan at Coyote Performance Innovation. It's Friday afternoon. We've been doing a little testing on a Mustang this week, as some of you may have seen already. I want to take a few minutes to kind of outline how that transpired, what we did to the car, and what our results were. A good friend of mine that I grew up kind of looking up to, that was one of the guys that helped teach me the ropes with a lot of performance and hot rodding stuff when I was a teenager. Dino McCamey, his son had gotten this Mustang, and I was looking at trying to learn this Ford platform a little bit, the Coyote platform, and he hit me up. So I thought, man, it'd be good to kind of give back and try to help Garrett out on his car and see if we can make some positive improvements with some of the things we've learned with the naturally aspirated stuff in the LS platform. So he brings his car in. It's a 2015 GT, 16,000 mile car. It's a 6R80 6-speed automatic. It already had some basic bolt-on stuff done. It already had an 18 manifold on it. I think it was ported. It had E85 on it already. It had catless or cat delete pipes, but it didn't have long tubes, and it had a Steeda airbox. And I tuned the car and kind of dialed that combo in on E85 and played with the VCT a pretty good bit, and got it about as good as it, I could get it. And it was about 436 rear wheel. Then we put some long tubes on it, changed the converter in the car. It had a converter with that setup as well. And we just took it to the track and did a little testing. That way I didn't put it back on the dyno, so I'm not sure what the long tubes are worth on that car if it's already got the cat deletes on it. So I'm sure we would have probably picked up 10 to 15 horsepower anyways. I'm not sure, but we're trying to get this thing chop away at the ET, and Garrett shipped in some TBM brakes for the front, some Bear brakes for the rear, some different wheels. We've got some different wheels going on the car. I hit up Chris at Circle D about a converter, had some ideas on something I wanted to try, so he was gracious enough to build me a converter to try to work with this combination we wanted to put together. We kept the existing airbox, and then Garrett snagged up a ported Cobra Jet manifold, VMP 137 throttle body, the mono blade, and the air intake tube to connect that to the airbox. I contacted Mike at L&M Cams with some ideas on what I was looking for valve timing. Not being extremely familiar with dual overhead cams, I didn't really know how to put that into terminology for Ford camshafts, but my knowledge of valve events and valve timing was good enough that we were able to kind of collaborate there, and I let him know kind of what I was wanting to do with it, and we settled on some cams, some specs, and I had Mike cut those for us. So the cams from L&M, and lastly, we already had a Coyote headport program at our machine shop, Kuntz & Company. So we ripped the engine out of the car. We felt it'd be best for us learning on this thing to pull the engine, pull the front cover, and we ripped the heads off, sent them down there, had them ported, we milled them some to bump the compression up, did the oil pump gears, and went back together with this thing. And we kind of were unfamiliar with the cam timing and stuff, so we called in some reinforcements to check us over on our cam timing and everything before we got to ripping on this thing. And Greg Emberson and Mark Warren, I appreciate those guys coming by and lending a spare set of eyes to help us look this thing over. And away we went. Fired it up, and I'm learning the 15 torque-based ECM. It's a little different than some of the previous Coyote stuff I dabbled with before, particularly in idle tuning, but we've made it through. It's pretty good so far. I'd say I'm about 90% happy with it. I've still got some startup stuff that I'm working with, but we'll get there. On to the results. So was really surprised. Man, I just really wanted to hit 500 rear wheel with this car. 302 cubic inch engine. Didn't really know what to expect. All I ever read and heard was, man, people don't do cams and heads on these cars. They don't pick up any power. Well, we went from 436 to 556. So we picked up 120 horsepower at the wheels by changing the cams, porting the heads, milling the heads a little bit, going with the Cobra Jet, manifold, throttle body setup, and putting settle-on tubes on the car. So, and the car already had cat deletes. It already had the 85. It already had this airbox. So, pretty ecstatic. I'm really excited to see how the car does at the track when we go out and test it now and do some track tuning. I know the main thing is going to be, not to put any pressure on you, Chris, but it's going to be the converter. You know, the power curve, to make that power. We made peak power at 8100. Pulling this thing out 88, 8900. I actually pulled it up to 8900 on the highway yesterday. Still holds its head up pretty good there. It's just it's going to be the 60-foot game as far as how good the ET, the converter, the gearing on the car, and getting the weight down on the car is going to be huge factors in how fast we can actually go with it. But we're super pumped. Garrett, I appreciate the opportunity. Dino, glad to help the boy out, and let's see what we can do with the Ford NA. Thanks.